Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. In today's video we have a lot of Bad Batch news to get through. First things first, we now have an official release date. We knew it was coming this fall, but now we have an official precise date. Yesterday some fans noticed on the Disney Plus app that the Bad Batch Season 2 has a premiere date of September the 28th. Now I will reiterate that only some regions are showing the release date, but eventually they'll all catch up and show this date, September the 28th. Now this date is actually quite significant because it means there's going to be some overlap with the Andor series. This has never happened before with any Star Wars show, and as I've theorized in the past, it could mean there's some overlap in terms of themes and even some of the plot. Now I know the Andor series takes place a few years after the Bad Batch Season 2, but that doesn't mean that certain characters, themes, or plot threads couldn't appear in both. This is super exciting. And of course we know Tales of the Jedi is also releasing this fall, so it's a big year for Star Wars animation. But that's not all we have for the Bad Batch, guys. So last Sunday, the final day of Star Wars Celebration, we got the Bad Batch Season 2 panel and trailer. I did a full trailer breakdown at the time, but there have been some more updates for the show that I've been waiting to talk about, and I say that because I was going to release this video the other day. But of course we had Obi-Wan Episode 3, the build up to that, as well as some Mandalorian updates, so I really haven't had a chance to release this, but here we are my dear friends, and we can finally discuss the Bad Batch. By the sounds of things from the panel, the trailer, and the exclusive celebration footage, Season 2 is going to be insane. For one thing, the stakes are a lot higher than before. We're going to be exploring a new era. Season 1 began at the end of the Clone Wars and fell in line with the legacy of that show as a spin-off. But now going into the second season, it can really establish itself as its own series. According to Jennifer Corbett, we're something like a few months to a year into the reign of the Empire, so new challenges are going to present themselves, not to mention the huge characters that we're going to get and the roles they will play in the show. We saw Palpatine, Masamida, we're getting the return of Commander Cody, Gungi, and maybe some other surviving Jedi, as well as planets like Sereno, Wayland, Kashyyyk, and so much more, not to mention the Bad Batch have new armor. And speaking of which, my dear friends, we have a new HD poster for the Bad Batch Season 2 that was originally shown at Celebration, and it shows off their new look, and as Jennifer Corbett says, Omega in particular is far more skilled in this season. I'm gonna start saying Omega again. I used to say Omega because that's the way Michelle Ang pronounces it, but let's go with Omega. So according to the panel, Omega has mastered the use of her bow, but she's also learned a lot of physical skills from her brothers too. Having said that, it was reiterated on the panel that Omega still has a lot to learn, and she's going to be facing situations that she is simply not prepared for, whether that's emotionally or in terms of maturity. There is a lot of growth still to happen, and even though there's a bit of a time jump, she is still very much a kid, and in many ways, she's going to be the new Ahsoka. And by that I mean, over the seasons, across many years and shows, we're going to see her develop and grow as a person. Eventually I think she will come into live action, and that opens up another avenue for the Book of Boba Fett Season 2, or a future season of Mando or even Ahsoka. But going back to the poster, her new look is awesome, and I'm also loving the new stripes of her brothers, very reminiscent of the concept art for the 212th Attack Battalion, which is ironic because Cody's appearing in this season as well. And so this brings us on to some new information. A lot of folks are wondering, what is the meaning of this new armor? Well, Brad Rao addressed this and basically said, "We worked very closely with Dave Filoni to make sure they look right. We iterated on these characters to get that kit bashed, worn through feeling, which really mirrors where they're at this point, very early on in Season 2. And another question we have, guys, is whether Crosshair is going to have a redemption arc. Well, Brad Rao also addressed this, but he answers with a question, does he even want to be redeemed right now? And I'm starting to think the Bad Batch is a 5 or 6 season show, and they're going to play the long game with Crosshair. We're not going to get an answer for a long time. He's still going to be a villain in Season 2, as we saw in the trailer, and he's going to be working for the Empire for the foreseeable future. That doesn't mean, though, that there's not going to be a back and forth with his brothers, though. That possible redemption theme is still going to be recurring throughout the second season. And so some more information, my dear friends. While this was already assumed, we now have official confirmation that Season 2 is 16 episodes, just like Season 1. Awesome stuff, guys. And finally for the Bad Batch, we also have a new synopsis. Let's take a look. Months have passed since the events on Kamino, and the Bad Batch continue their journey navigating the Empire after the fall of the Republic. They will cross paths with friends and foes as they take on a variety of thrilling mercenary missions that will take them to unexpected and dangerous new places. So by the sounds of things, they're still working for Sid. And I will say, guys, I think this also opens up the possibility of Quinlan Vos. Massive spoiler warning for Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 3, but the Quinlan Vos name drop might also pertain to an appearance in the Bad Batch season 2. In yesterday's video, I talked about how Quinlan Vos could tie into Grogu and the Kenobi series, but I also think that he's going to play into the Bad Batch's second season in a large way. Not only are we going to Kashyyyk, where Gungi the Jedi Padawan is alive, but based on some hints from season 1, I believe Quinlan Vos is the secret Jedi contact of Sid. He's clearly working behind the scenes for the early rebellion and doing good wherever he can, helping those in need and protecting defectors of the Empire. I think he's the perfect candidate to run into Clone Force 99 or in some way be part of one of their missions, and given his extensive work on Kashyyyk, which we're returning to, as well as smuggling Force-sensitive children to safety, he might have been the one to rescue and further train Gungi after Order 66. What I'm saying, guys, is Quinlan Vos is perfect for this show. If you missed yesterday's video, where I speak about Quinlan's role in Grogu's life and maybe that of Obi-Wan Kenobi, then go and check it out. And so now, my dear friends, we have an update for the Book of Boba Fett, because Temuera Morrison has admitted he would make changes to the show. Speaking to Screen Rant, the New Zealand actor admitted that things could have gone very differently on the show, which, as we know, received mixed responses from the audience. While Morrison expressed gratitude to Star Wars fans and the cast and crew, he said he would have done things a little bit different, now that he can look back at the series critically. And this is the quote: "Feeling the love from all the fans, feeling that we've done something good, and the reaction I've been getting from the fans is overwhelming. I'm very proud and just grateful for the wonderful opportunity to play Boba Fett in the Book of Boba, to work with Ming-Na. We had a wonderful chemistry. It was so easy to work with her." Later on in the quote he says, "Now that I'm looking back at it, I don't know, it's just one of those things. Things are great when you look back, but there are some things I may have done a little bit different." Now look, it's pretty clear from this interview and others we've covered in the past that the Book of Boba Fett was not everything Temuera Morrison wanted it to be. And even as someone who really enjoyed the show, it does have its flaws. Even Tema said in the past he disagreed with some of the dialogue and the story, but his awareness of these flaws could be good news for the future, especially in terms of future crossovers, and the way that Jon Favreau and Robert Rodriguez, as well as Dave Filoni and the other creatives, can learn from the mistakes. And look, I want to see Temuera Morrison in everything. I loved him as the homeless clone in Kenobi, but I would love to see another season of the Book of Boba Fett. Not to mention, he's probably also going to come back into the Mandalorian season 3, and at Celebration he kept talking about Captain Rex, so maybe he's going to play him in the Ahsoka show. As the original face of the clone army, I really want him to play every surviving clone, and just generally his enthusiasm, his passion for Star Wars, his energy, everything about him is amazing. Tem is a gem, and I'm sure if we do get a second season of the Book of Boba Fett, it's going to be a lot more steady, consistent, having learned from the mistakes of season 1. But having said that, I do think the Book of Boba Fett is overly criticised. The way some people talk about the series is pretty hyperbolized. Was it perfect? No. I would say it was solid, has a lot of potential, but from my point of view, it definitely wasn't terrible. But let me know your thoughts on what Temuera said in the comments down below. Before I go, guys, I want to say a special thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. If you want to support the channel and get access to live streams and videos not found here on YouTube, then click the link down below, or alternatively click that join button beneath this video. Any and all support is very appreciated, and to all of you, a massive thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up. Why not consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you always. I'm Megan, also known as Star Wars Meg, and I'll see you in the next one.